Success is not something that randomly shows up in someone's life like a surprise guest. It's not a jackpot you hit because you got lucky one day. Success is the result of patterns, principles, and processes done consistently over time. It's not a reward for desire, it's a result of discipline. And that's where most people get it wrong. They think success is something they earn because they want it. But the truth is, the world doesn't care how badly you want something. Wanting something and preparing for something are two completely different things. The law of success does not respond to wishful thinking. It responds to consistent behavior that is aligned with truth and purpose. Too many people are sitting on the sidelines of life, waiting for a moment that never comes because they believe that intention alone is enough to create outcomes. But your life is not built by what you intend to do. It's built by what you actually do. Consistently, not occasionally, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. Consistently, that's where success is created. And because it is a law, not a feeling, it doesn't fluctuate based on your mood or circumstances. You don't wake up successful, you become successful through repeated actions that align with successful outcomes. Take a look at anything in life that produces fruit. A tree, a business, a relationship, it all functions on the principle of seed, time, and harvest. First, the seed is planted, then time has to pass where the seed is cultivated, watered, exposed to the right environment. Finally, harvest shows up. That's a law, and the law works every time if the process is honored. The problem is that most people want to skip the seed and the time and go straight to the harvest. But when you skip the process, you disqualify yourself from the product. That's why success can never be viewed as a reward for effort. It must be understood as a result of alignment. You could be working hard, giving your best, grinding every single day, and still not be successful if your actions are not aligned with the principles that produce success. A person who runs 100 miles in the wrong direction is still lost. Movement does not equal progress. Activity does not equal achievement. Only actions that are connected to principles produce predictable results. That's why we say success is a result. You don't get successful by accident. You get successful on purpose by aligning yourself with truth, structure, and order. Let's look at an example. If you're a farmer and you plant corn, you know for a fact that corn is going to come out of the ground. Why? Because the seed produces after its own kind. That's a law. You never wonder if you're going to get apples from corn seeds. You never worry about whether or not harvest is going to come. You know it's going to come because you've honored the process. It's the same with your life. The seeds you plant, your thoughts, your words, your actions are all producing fruit in your life, whether you like it or not. You can't plant laziness and expect productivity. You can't sow fear and expect confidence. You can't live in scarcity and expect abundance. You reap what you sow. That's why success is not a reward. It's a result. The people you admire, the businesses you respect, the results you envy, they're not operating in luck. They're operating in law. They're not waiting for their big break. They are honoring the process. They're doing the work. They're living in alignment with the truth that success is a seed, not a surprise. They're making intentional decisions. They're keeping commitments. They're staying consistent because consistency compounds. One good day won't make you great, but one good day repeated over and over again will change your life. Success isn't owned, it's rented. And the rent is due every day. That's why you have to shift your mindset from event to process. Stop looking for a moment to change everything. Start becoming the person who does the work when nobody's watching. Start becoming the person who makes excellence a habit. Start becoming the person who honors the process even when the results are invisible. Because every day you do what needs to be done, you are setting yourself up for the result that will eventually show up. And it always does. It may not show up on your timeline, but the law is undefeated. It never loses. You've got to stop measuring progress by how you feel. You've got to measure it by what you're becoming. The results may not show up immediately, but the identity you're building will last a lifetime. And it's that identity that produces lasting success, because success is attracted to the person who becomes it before they receive it. If you want to be successful, don't ask for results. Ask for refinement. Ask to be shaped into the kind of person who can sustain what you're asking for. Ask to become a person of value. Ask to become a person of discipline. Ask to become someone who doesn't quit when it's hard, who doesn't compromise when it's uncomfortable, who doesn't give up when it's inconvenient. When you understand that success is a result, not a reward, you'll stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. You'll stop asking how long it takes and start asking how far you can go. You'll stop being attached to the outcome and start being committed to the process. And when that happens, the law of success will do what it always does. It will respond every single time without fail, because success is not for the lucky. It's for the line. Most people set goals based on what they want to have, not who they need to become. That's why they stay stuck, frustrated, and disappointed. They think if they just write it down, say it enough, or visualize it, it will somehow happen. But the law of success doesn't respond to your intention. It responds to your identity. You don't get what you wish for, and you don't even get what you work for if your internal programming doesn't match the results you're trying to create. The truth is you can't outperform your self-image. If deep down you believe you're not good enough, not worthy, not capable, you will sabotage every opportunity that tries to elevate you beyond that belief. That's why change doesn't start with goals. It starts with identity. Identity is the thermostat of your life. You can set a goal to increase the temperature, but if your internal setting is fixed at a lower level, no matter how high things rise temporarily, you'll eventually reset everything to match what you believe about yourself. That's why people succeed and then lose it all. It's not about luck or chance, it's about the inner blueprint. If you want lasting success, you must reprogram that blueprint. Identity is built from repetition. The thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the actions you take, all of those shape who you believe you are. If you constantly speak defeat, expect loss, and act out of fear, you are not going to create success even if you work hard. Because success doesn't show up for people who act successful once in a while. It shows up for people who become successful in their thinking before they ever see results in the physical. The marketplace doesn't pay you based on how badly you want something. It pays you based on the value you provide. And your ability to provide value is directly tied to who you believe you are. You can't deliver excellence from a place of insecurity. You can't build wealth from a mindset of poverty. You can't create abundance from a spirit of lack. That's why transformation must begin from the inside out. The law of success is activated by identity, not by motivation. You can watch every motivational video in the world and still feel stuck if your identity hasn't shifted. Motivation without transformation leads to frustration because you'll feel inspired to do more, but if you haven't become more, you'll keep hitting the same wall. That wall is your current identity. You need to decide who you are becoming, then align your behavior, your habits, and your standards with that version of you. You can't keep saying you want to be a millionaire and keep operating like someone who's trying to survive. You have to become the kind of person who manages money well, speaks with confidence, solves problems, creates impact. That's how the law responds. The shift doesn't happen when you make more money. It happens when you become more valuable. Success is not about achieving something. It's about evolving into someone. Most people want results while staying the same, but that's impossible. The law of success requires growth. It requires change. You have to shed the old version of you that was built by fear, limitation, and doubt, and step into the version of you that is bold, resourceful, and aligned with purpose. That takes courage. That takes daily commitment. It takes being willing to let go of comfort and embrace challenge. Because challenge is what chisels identity. Every time you do something that stretches you, that requires discipline, that demands more than convenience, you are reinforcing a new identity. And over time, that identity becomes your default. And once your default identity is aligned with success, results become inevitable. Not easy, but inevitable. The most powerful thing you can do to activate the law of success is not to write another goal. It's to redefine who you are. Decide today that you are no longer available for self-sabotage. Decide that you are done living beneath your potential. Decide that you are the kind of person who shows up, follows through, and delivers excellence. not because of who's watching, but because that's who you are. When you become that person internally, the world will begin to mirror that identity externally. Doors will open. Opportunities will appear. Relationships will align because you're no longer pretending. You're no longer trying. You're living in truth. Identity is the root. Results are the fruit. If you don't like the fruit, stop cursing the harvest and start changing the seed. Speak different words. Think different thoughts. Show up with different energy. Carry yourself like the person you're becoming, not the one you've been. That's how the law responds. Because the law of success doesn't care about your history. It responds to your identity, not the one you choose, the one you build, the one you reinforce with every action, every choice, every standard, the identity that's aligned with success, purpose, value, and impact. When you operate from that place, you don't chase success, you attract it. You don't force results, you flow in alignment. That's how transformation happens. That's how lives are changed. That's how legacy is built. And it all begins with who you choose to be. The law of success does not reward people based on how much time they invest. It rewards people based on the value they bring. That's the difference between those who struggle and those who thrive. Most people are trapped in a time for money mindset, believing that the harder or longer they work, the more they should earn. But success does not operate that way. The marketplace doesn't pay for effort. It pays for value. You could work 20 hours a day and still be broke if you're not solving problems, serving people, or creating meaningful impact. You can be busy all day and still make no progress if what you're doing isn't valuable. Value is the currency of success. The more value you create, the more success you attract. And here's what's powerful: value is not limited by time. A person can speak for 5 minutes and earn what someone else earns in 5 months because of the level of value they bring in those 5 minutes. The value they deliver is rooted in their expertise, their ability to solve a high-level problem, their mastery of communication, and their understanding of human needs. It's not about the clock. It's about the contribution. This is why so many people get frustrated. They think they're being overlooked because they're putting in hours, but they're measuring effort instead of outcomes. The law of success doesn't ask how long you worked. It asks how well you served. It asks what solution you provided. It asks what transformation you delivered. When you understand that success is obedient to value, not time, you stop complaining about not having enough hours in the day. You start asking yourself, how can I make my hours more valuable? How can I use the time I do have to create something meaningful? How can I increase the level of transformation I deliver? That's the key. That's what separates high performers from the average. It's not more work. It's more focus, more skill, and more intention behind what they do. You can only scale your income when you scale your value. Time is limited. Value is infinite. You can only work so many hours, but your impact can multiply if you find a way to create leverage. Leverage comes when you stop trading time and start trading solutions. If you're a coach, your time is limited, but your programs can be scaled. If you're a speaker, you can only be in one place at one time, but your message can live forever through books, videos, and content. When you shift from time-based thinking to value-based creation, you unlock exponential growth. And here's the truth. The world is starving for value. People are looking for solutions to their problems every day. If you can solve a painful problem, if you can save someone time, money, energy, or frustration, you are valuable. And when you become valuable, the law of success will find you. It will elevate you. It will reward you not because of your schedule, but because of your substance. The goal is not to be the hardest worker in the room. The goal is to be the most valuable person in the room. Not an ego, but an impact, because value is what draws people. Value is what builds trust. Value is what makes you irreplaceable. And that value isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop. It's built through learning, through growing, through solving your own problems, and then helping others solve theirs. If you want to elevate your success, elevate your value, learn what others aren't willing to learn, do what others avoid. Think in terms of contribution, not compensation. Focus on outcomes, not output, and watch how quickly the game changes for you. Because when you become valuable, you become visible. When you become valuable, you attract opportunities. When you become valuable, you don't have to chase success. Success chases you. People don't buy your time. They buy what your time can produce. They buy the experience, the transformation, the shift that happens because of what you do and who you are. That's why success comes faster when you stop asking, how long will it take, and start asking, how much value can I create in the shortest amount of time? That question unlocks everything. It forces innovation. It demands creativity. It shifts your focus from activity to impact. It forces you to become excellent. Excellence is the foundation of value. You can't deliver high-level value with low-level standards. You have to raise your expectations, improve your skill set, and demand more from yourself than the average person does. And when you do that, you begin to attract things that average people can't. Because average effort produces average results. Extraordinary value produces extraordinary success. You have to make up your mind that you will no longer be paid for time. You will be paid for value. You will be paid for what you deliver and what you can help others achieve. And when you build that kind of value, no recession, no competition, no external pressure can stop you, because value always has a market. Value always has a demand. Value always has a seat at the table. The law of success will always make space for the person who brings value into the room. So stop measuring your worth by your hours. Start measuring your worth by the impact you make. Increase your skill, increase your understanding, increase your contribution, and you'll increase your income, your influence, and your success. Not someday, now, because the law of success is not waiting on time, it's waiting on value.